Hey guys, this is Nick with Cymatics, and in this video I'm just going to be talking about a couple of the instrument VSTs that I'll be using a lot throughout 2022. Omnisphere, industry standard, because of its enormous preset library, enormous audio sample library. The multi-samples are extremely high quality. For me, one of the defining characteristics of Omnisphere and defining features and why I use it so much is the sound match feature, and the browser in general is extremely good. So let's say, for instance, you want to find a sound based on some attributes, like you want to have a percussive organic sound, and then you select some sound, let's say this one. Let me just tune this up a bit. So let's say I like the sound texturally, for example, or I like the sound in terms of how plucky it is, but I want something similar but different. And that's when you can use the sound match feature. It's extremely effective and saves so much time. So let's just browse some of these. So also very kind of washed out reverb. And say I really like this sound. So I'm going to match the current selection again, and it's going to... That's pretty cool, actually. So it saves an enormous amount of time. Preset library is enormous as well, and you can dig deep into each and every preset and change anything you want about it. There's a huge filter library here too. And the synthesizer engine is also extremely pleasant sounding to me. Very analog sounding and warm. On top of that, you can expand Omnisphere with owning Keyscape and Trillion. Trillion's a bit outdated, but it's not actually not outdated because they updated it recently, but people think it's outdated. But it's been updated to 1.4, and it looks like all the old... like all the new Omnisphere stuff and Steam library based stuff. And it's got a massive library of basses too. And I use it all the time, even though it's the first Omnisphere, the first Spectrasonics instrument. It's got some amazing basses in it. And Keyscape, in my opinion, is incredible as well. It's my favorite and most used piano-based instrument, whether it's for pianos or for electric pianos, and even weird stuff like clavichords and dolceolas and stuff. And it's got a lot of really nice and relevant presets. Extremely realistic sounding, painstakingly recorded multi-samples here, and I use it all the time. Literally one of my most used, especially since it incorporates so nicely into Omnisphere, because Omnisphere has this creative library for Keyscape Creative, which incorporates, it's just basically a massive number of Keyscape just really cool and worth every penny in my opinion. If you're looking for something more analog synthesizer based, I really recommend the new Softube stuff. I think it's probably the best. Like for instance the Moog here, it's nearly exact. So let me find some. It's got a pretty okay preset browser. Not the best, but the actual filter is exact. It's the ladder filter from the Moog, classic. And now you can hear the... It's like literally exact. Yeah, I just can't. I love playing with this thing. It's monophonic, but it's perfect for bass lines. Juno emulation. They have all the classic presets too from the factory, like the actual Roland sounds. It's excellent too. My favorite Juno emulation, next to Diva. Yeah, so that's amazing. Yeah, Analog Lab, it's getting up there with Omnisphere. It has a very involved, very detailed preset browser, as you can see. Huge number of categories. The actual synths that they model are also very accurate. CS80, CMI, I love the CMI because of just it just sounds weird to me, and I like weird sounds. I like that it sounds very 8-bit. And also it combines basically a massive number of presets, and if you want to change stuff, that's pretty cool. You can like edit the presets internally if you have the actual synths, 25 or something synths and instruments that are built into Analog Lab, and the preset library is so large that you're never going to actually run out of sounds, basically. So very happy with it. I've been using it more and more. Triton is a weird one. This is basically just a copy of the actual Korg Triton, the actual workstation. It's been used in like literally every single hit song from like the early 2000s and late 90s like hip hop music. It might sound I don't think it sounds dated per se, but it's got a lot of easy to work in sounds like that. You don't need to like mix them in too much, and I highly recommend you guys check these out. And there's a lot of like sounds that you might recognize from songs, like especially like Pharrell and stuff like that. Phonic's a really cool synth. It's got this cool melt circuit, which has like random pitch modulation and stuff to make it sound like it's on tape. And it's meant to kind of evoke like VHS vibes, you know? Very Boards of Canada-esque. Very nice synth. Kind of a complex UI, but I think just the presets are interesting on their own. And it's got a delay built in and other modulation stuff, so I'm a fan for sure. It's got a very specific sound to it, so if you kind of are going for this old VHS like vintage style vibe, then it's perfect for that particular application. Mellotron from Arturia is obviously excellent. It's built into Labs, but it's got like the entire Mellotron library basically from all these different Mellotrons, and that's like the Strawberry Fields Forever flute from the Beatles. It's got a lot of these classic iconic sounds, but you can actually load in your own one-shots actually if you want into this, and it'll work. So for instance, this is from Legends. And it stretches it, right? You can make it really short on top, or you can actually get it to stretch. And the stretching algorithm's pretty good, and it's got tape saturation. You can add like tape saturation stuff per voice, which is kind of a cool tip for Mellotron, and I just love the way it sounds. And you can combine it with all these classic sounds as well, from like the Mellotron library. And I just find that especially the choirs in Mellotron are the best, like, of anything I've ever heard, because something about how they recorded them just make them sound really natural, even though they're not even like multi-sampled or like recorded in a room or anything, like a high quality modern studio with modern equipment. I don't know, they just sound very natural to me always when I use them. Repro 5 is a classic, it's a Prophet 5 emulation, excellent, very happy with it. Chromophone 3 is a physical modeling synth from Applied Acoustics Systems. Very high quality, like, synth for specifically like this kind of application, like percussive stuff. It like mathematically models like real life materials and sounds very similar to kalimbas and marimbas and stuff like that, xylophones. If you want to model them yourself and you want to go deep and like edit the actual partials and stuff, that make up these sounds, then this is perfect. It's got a very nice preset library too. And if you just like these particular sorts of percussive, sharp, like stabby, like plucky sounds, it's perfect for that. Keys is our instrument that we made, deeply multi-sampled, bunch of different presets. We recorded everything ourselves of real life, keys and pianos and synths and stuff like that. And it's got some really cool effects in it, like a Univibe that we modeled on a real Univibe pedal. And chorus that's modeled on a Juno chorus and stuff like that. A lot of work went into it, so I use it a lot as well for that kind of stuff. And yeah, so there's a lot of choices here, and I hope you guys have maybe gleaned some information, and maybe you can try some of these things out. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.